Rupyascha kripa sindhupya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavaryaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Garatrise Namaha. We're starting today with Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. We're starting with Adikanda chapter 1, Summary of the Pastimes of Sri Chaitanya. I worship their lordships, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, whose long arms extend down to their knees, whose beautiful complexions have the color and radiance of molten gold. They have initiated the congregational chanting of the names of Lord Krishna, and their elongated eyes are like red lotuses. They are the maintainers of the universe, the topmost of the Brahmanas, the guardians of religious principles for this age, the munificent benefactors of all living entities, and the most merciful and compassionate incarnations of Godhead. O Lord, you are the eternal truth, unconditioned by past, present and future, and yet you have now appeared as the son of Sri Jagannath Mishra. I offer repeated obeisances unto you, along with your intimate servitors, your unalloyed devotees, your sons, your renounced Goswami disciples, and the devotional process of chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, and your consorts, Sri Bhudevi, who appeared as Sri Vishnu Priya, Sri Devi, who appeared as Sri Lakshmi Priya, and Sri Leela Devi, also known as Nila or Durga, who manifested Navadvip Dham. And the two Gadadhars, one is Sri Gadadhar Pandit, the expansion of Srimati Radharani, and the other is Sri Gadadhar Bhatta from South India, who is Sri Ranga Devi, and Damodar, Narahari, Ramananda, Jagadananda, and all of your unlimited associates. I worship the two brothers, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who are the embodiment of magnanimity. By their inconceivable potency, they are the transcendental, eternal, supreme controllers of all. They have now descended to the material world. All glories to Sri Gaurasundar, the supremely powerful Lord of pure transcendence. He has an aura of molten gold, with lotus petal eyes, and his long graceful arms extend to his knees. While he sings the glories of the Lord, he dances in various pleasing postures, as his heart is inundated by the ecstatic emotions of the devotional mellows. All glories to the moon-like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the fully independent Supreme Person, always engaged in transcendental pastimes. He is the Lord of the universe, the Supreme Controller of all controllers, and the personification of transcendence. All glories to the devotees of Sri Gaurachandra. All glories to the ecstatic dancing of the Lord's intimate associates. In the beginning, I offer my humble obeisances to the feet of the loving confidential devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya. I then offer my obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He has incarnated in Navadvip, and he is known as Vishvambar. That same Supreme Personality of Godhead has declared in the Vedas and Srimad Bhagavatam, worship of my devotees is superior to worship of me. Lord Krishna said to Uddhava, O Uddhava, serving my devotees is many times better than worshipping me. Therefore I offer my worshipful prayers unto the devotees of the Lord. Before I begin to write this book, by this act may my present endeavor be successful. I offer my respectful obeisances to my worshipful Lord and spiritual Master, Sri Nityananda Roy, by whose mercy the transcendental pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya become spontaneously manifest. With 1,000 tongues, we should incessantly glorify the Supreme Lord Balaram, because his 1,000 mouths, as Ananta says, constantly glorify Lord Krishna. Just as priceless gems are kept in secure custody, so also the invaluable jewel of knowledge about Krishna's pastimes is kept safely in the mouth of Anantadev. Therefore, the tongue, which initially glorifies Balaram, will automatically be qualified to vibrate the transcendental pastime of Sri Chaitanya. The Supreme Lord, Haladhara, holds his 1,000 hoods like snakes. He is a gigantic figure and the source of all inspiration. As Nityananda, he is fully transcendental and eternally existent, intoxicated by the nectar of Sri Chaitanya. Whoever sings or hears about Nityananda's supramundane character is offered the supreme shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Mahesh and his consort Parvati Devi take great pleasure in eulogizing the object of their love, Shankarshan. Nityananda Prabhu, in the midst of 1,000,000 fresh young maidens, the pure devotee Sri Siva and his consort pour out nectarian devotional hymns to Lord Shankarshan. All this is revealed in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Balaram is worshipped by the entire Vaishnava world with songs of praise. Balaram dances with his gopis in the world with songs of praise. Balaram dances with his gopis in Vrindavan, and their rasa dance is the pinnacle of sublimity. The Puranas describe that Balaram performs his rasa dance during the 2 months of spring, Madhu and Madhava. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, verses narrating this subject are spoken by Sukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. Balaram spent the moonlit nights of the month of Madhu and Madhava with the cowherd damsels in the supramundane abode of Vrindavan. The place was set aglow with the rays of the moon. The lotus and kadamba flowers bloomed freely under the influence of the moon's rays, and a soft breeze circulated their scent. In the groves on the bank of the Jamuna, Balaram danced with the gopis, increasing their conjugal mood. The Supreme Lord Balaram, like an exquisite gem, decorated by the cluster of gopis, performed his pleasurable pastimes. He behaved like Indra's elephant, Airavata, the controller of many she-elephants. The Gandharvas observed the rasa dance and offered their prayers. The sound of kettle drums rose from the heavens. The demigods joyously showered flowers upon them, and the Gandharvas and sages worshipped the Supreme Lord Balaram with verses praising his activities. The sages unequivocally denounce association with women, yet they sing hymns in praise of Balaram's rasa dance with his cowherd damsels. The demigods attended Balaram's rasa dance to shower flower petals. They know that there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram Haladhara. The transcendental qualities of Balaram are obscure in the 4 Vedas, but the Puranas describe them boldly. What power do I have to describe them? However, out of ignorance, some people disregard the Puranas and reject Balaram's rasa dance as inauthentic. The 2 brothers, Lord Krishna and Balaram, performed the Rasa Krida pastimes with the gopis in the same place of Vrindavan. Once on the radiant full moon night, At the end of the Shiva Ratri Vrata, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram were playing Holi in the midst of the beautiful maidens of Vrindavan. Krishna and Balaram were both pleasingly decorated with the finest jewelry, sandalwood pulp, wildflower garlands, and exquisite clothes. The fortunate gopis sang sweetly, their hearts and songs enraptured by love for Krishna and Balaram. As Krishna and Balaram praised the beauty of the nightfall, the moon and the stars appeared. The fragrance of Arabian jasmine intoxicated the bumblebees, and a light breeze carried the aromas of white lilies and lotus flowers. Considering that very moment to be appropriate, Krishna and Balaram began their pleasurable dalliances. They sang together for the pleasure of all living entities, their voices rising and falling melodiously. If a person after reading Srimad Bhagavatam is not affectionately inclined towards Lord Balaram, then he is rejected by the Supreme Lord Vishnu and his devotees. In the words of Srimad Bhagavatam, a non-believer is a Yavana, a barbarian. He is destined to suffer in hell, birth after birth. Faithless persons who are like eunuchs make emotional casticulations, foolishly challenging. Which scripture describes the rasa dance of Balaram? Who is so sinful that even after reading the scriptures he cannot accept the truth, but misinterprets the real meaning and gives his own distorted understanding? Lord Balaram is the abode of Lord Chaitanya's deep affection. Thus, offense at Balaram's lotus feet destroys all possibility of salvation. Sri Balaram appears in various forms along with all the incarnations of Lord Krishna, thus manifesting different characteristics in his loving service to the Lord. In his incarnation as Lakshman, the younger brother of Lord Ramachandra, Balaram enacted the role of the Lord's servitor. Yet, in his manifestation with Lord Krishna, Balaram serves him in every aspect, as a friend and as a brother, by fanning him, putting him to sleep, glorifying him with Vedic invocations, and expanding himself as his house, umbrella, attire, jewelry, and seat. In the Stotas Ratna, O Lord, your direct partial expansion, Ananta Sesh, is the source of all the various ingredients for your service in the transcendental realm of Vaikuntha. Ananta Sesh is famous because he is manifest as your residence, bed, throne, shoes, clothes, jewelry, etc. When shall I see you with Lakshmi Devi seated upon the throne of Ananta Sesh? Ananta Sesh partial expansion is the mighty Sri Garuda, whose satisfaction is derived from acting as the Lord's carrier in every pastime. Ananta's devotees include Brahma, Shiva, the four Kumaras, Srila Vyasadeva, Sukadev Goswami, and Narada Muni. His glorious qualities are unlimited and are not fully understood by anyone. He is the original personality, the greatest mystic, the Supreme Lord, and the greatest devotee of the Vaishnavas. Thus far you have heard about the wonderful services performed by Ananta Sesh. Now hear about his great opulence. Ananta Sesh is enthroned in the lower planetary system of Patala as his own source and repose. All worship as his thousand mouths continually taste the unlimited nectar of Krishna Prema. In the court of Brahma, Narada Muni plays on his veena, and with well-composed verses he sings the wonderful glories of Ananta. Is it humanly possible to know the supramundane nature of Anantadev? Just by his glance, he sets in motion the three modes of material nature that are the cause of this world's creation, maintenance and annihilation. Although he is one, he supports the entire variegated material cosmic manifestation himself within the pores of his person. He is beginningless and eternal. Other than Lord Sankarshan, Anantasage, who can offer shelter to persons devoid of all material aspirations, he is the support upon which the material world manifests and acts. That Supreme Lord, the cause of all causes, has appeared in his sublime spiritual form. He is the most powerful. In comparison, the power of a lion is insignificant. He performs pure transcendental pastimes to capture the hearts of his dear devotees, and he destroys countless sins by manifesting his transcendental form. What more is there to say than this? Hearing or calling out the name of Lord Anantadev, either respectfully or accidentally, purifies one. Even a most degraded person is purified if he just tauntingly utters the name of Sri Ananta. Anantadeva's mighty potency is beyond measure. That Supreme Lord carries upon just one of its 1,000 heads the entire universe, with all its living entities, mountains and rivers, and that universe appears to be only a minute atomic speck. Even if a person acquires 1,000 tongues, how can he describe the power of the omnipotent Supreme Lord? Anantadev is his own shelter and source, filled with unlimited power and strength, while residing in the lower planetary system of Rasatala, with complete ease born from his detachment. He holds this gigantic cosmic manifestation, this material world's creation, maintenance and annihilation, as well as the three modes of material nature are activated by his glance. Who can fathom Anantadeva's non-dual, transcendental, eternal and unborn existence? Out of mercy towards the living entities, the Lord manifests his supramundane spiritual form while he performs his variegated pastimes. All living entities reside within that transcendental form. The mighty Lord Nishingadev represents but a wave in the ocean of the Lord's unlimited pastimes, which satisfy the hearts of his devotees. Anantadeva's unlimited names, when heard or chanted by anyone in any manner, immediately savor the news of innumerable birth and death. Thus the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord always appreciate those who glorify him. Anantasage is the supreme destination of the entire universe. His holy name is the only means for the redemption of the living entities. The Lord holds upon his head the unlimited material nature along with its mountains and oceans, simply for its protection and maintenance. The entire universe is but a speck upon one of his 1,000 hood, and because of his unlimited strength, he does not feel the burden in the slightest. Lord Anantadev, the original Supreme Personality and maintainer of the entire cosmic manifestation, incessantly sings in glorification of Lord Krishna. He continuously describes every aspect of the Lord's divine attributes. Lord Krishna is eternal and his ever-expanding attributes are unlimited. Therefore, he can never be fully described or glorified. However, the ability of Ananta to glorify the Lord is also unlimited, and eternally he is engaged in description of the Lord's qualities. In their divine relationship, neither is ever victorious. Even today, Ananta Shesh, thousand-mouthed, continuously sing the glories of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. How wonderfully Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram compete with each other. Brahma, Shiva, other demigods, and the perfected sages look on, feeling great exhilaration. The eternal eulogies of Anantadeva pursue the ever-expanding, elusive shores of Lord Krishna's ocean of qualities. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, O Narada, I, Brahma, and your elders, Shanaka and other sages, cannot even fathom the extent of this material nature. What to speak of knowing the Supreme Lord's spiritual potencies? Anantadev, the origin of all demigods, is unable to exhaustively glorify the Supreme Lord's transcendental opulence and potencies with his thousand mouths. Therefore, how is it possible for ordinary mortals to understand these divine potencies? Anantadev is himself the master of unlimited attributes, and he resides in Rasatala, simply to support the vast material creation. In the court of Brahma, Narada Muni plays upon his veena and glorifies the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord. Brahma and his associates are stunned in ecstasy upon hearing the supramundane qualities of the Supreme Lord. All worship Narada Muni, since he sings in description of these qualities. I have also been moved to write a few phrases in praise of the unlimited potencies of Lord Nityananda, Anantadev, and I humbly request all of you to develop a loving devotional mood towards the Lord. Those who desire to cross over the dangerous ocean of material existence and drown in the ocean of devotional ecstasy may take shelter of Lord Nityananda. I pray to the merciful Vaishnava devotees of the Lord to fulfill the yearning of my heart. May I serve my Lord Balaram, birth after birth. Just as Dvija, Vipra, and Brahmana are different names for the same person, similarly Nityananda, Ananta, and Balaram are different names for the same Supreme Personality. My Lord Nityananda Prabhu appeared within my heart and instructed me to narrate the transcendental qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this book. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are revealed by Nityananda's mercy only, because his personal expansion, Ananta Sesh, is the storehouse of information about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna's pastimes. Although Sri Ananta Sesh is the embodiment of Krishna Kirtan, I have been able to offer only a humble prayer in his honor. Hearing Lord Chaitanya's qualities and pastimes can clean away all material contamination. Such pastimes are revealed only through a pure devotee's grace, for who else can know the nature and pastimes of Lord Chaitanya? Even in the Vedas, the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are a hidden mystery. Therefore, I have compiled only first-hand accounts taken directly from the lips of the associates of the Lord. I see no beginning or end to Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. They are eternal and unlimited, and only the Lord's grace gives me the potency to compose them. I am simply Lord Chaitanya's mouthpiece, repeating as he desires, just like a doll moved by some unseen hand. I throw myself at the feet of all pure Vaishnava devotees, so they may cleanse me of all offenses. O my brothers, please listen very attentively to the transcendental pastimes Lord Chaitanya performs with his devotee associates. The ecstatic pastimes of Lord Chaitanya have been divided into 3 periods: Adi, Madhya, and Antya, or Sesh, early, intermediate, and later. The early period includes a description of the Lord's education, and the intermediate portion reveals Mahaprabhu's pastimes of congregational chanting. The concluding portion describes the Lord's pastimes as a sannyasi in Nilachal. From there, he allocated to Nityananda the mission of preaching in Bengal. The pious Sri Jagannath Mishra, Chaitanya's father, lived in Navadvip. Like Vasudev, he conscientiously performed his spiritual duties. His devout and faithful wife, Srimati Sachi Devi, was a second Devaki and the beloved mother of everyone. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, appeared in the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi, and as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became the most precious possession of everyone's heart. The Adikanda begins by describing the appearance of Lord Chaitanya on an auspicious full moon evening in the month of Falguna. Just as the moon went into eclipse, the tumultuous chanting of Lord Hari's holy name filled all directions, inspiring everyone to sing together. The Supreme Lord Chaitanya was born amidst the chanting. The Adikanda also describes the Lord's numerous childhood pastimes. Lord Chaitanya reveals to his parents his otherwise unmanifest place of residence, the Holy Dham. Moreover, as they stare in wonder, he displays the signs of divinity upon his lotus feet. In this portion of the book, one day thieves kidnap baby Nimai from his house, but he tricks them into bringing him back home. Another story narrates how the Lord ate all the foodstuffs offered to Vishnu in the house of Jagadish and Hiranya on Ekadasi day. Yet another story describes the Lord sitting upon a pile of contaminated cooking pots, using the situation to instruct his mother in philosophy. In the Adikanda, the Lord also acts like a crying baby, using his tears as a ploy to make everyone chant the holy names of Krishna. The Adikanda discusses the Lord as a child playing with his friends as if he were Krishna in Gokula. The Lord begins his education and with little effort masters all the scriptures. The Adikanda narrates the disappearance of Sri Jagannath Mishra and Vishwarup's acceptance of sannyas, and how these two lords' wonderful pastimes as a student, he was pride personified before the other student scholars. Chaitanya's travel through eastern Bengal are also described here. The land becomes a place of pilgrimage by the touch of his lotus feet. Okay, shall we stop here for today? Jai Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai, Adikanda Chapter 1 Ki Jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Translated by Sarva Bhavana Das Ki Jai. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama
Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha.
Gopa Govindaram Sri Madhusudan.
Gopala Govindaram Sri Madhusudanam.
Giridhari Gopinath Madanamaha.
Giridhari Gopinath Madanamaha.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra.
Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghuna.
Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghuna.
Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Raghuna.
Jiva Gopala Bhakta Raghuna.
Jai Gosai Jai Charanavanda.
Jai Gosai Kori Charananda.
Jaya Sabaikara Sisi Guru Kuranga Sundar Radha Kiridara Juki
Jai.
Om Vishnu Patsila Bhakti Nirmala Jaya Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata Sri Acharya Vrinda Ki
Jai.
Om Vishnu Patsila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Om Vishnu Patsila Bhakti Rakakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Bhagavan Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki
Jai.
Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki
Jai.
Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur Ki
Jai.
Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki
Jai.
Sabhashara Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Sabhashara Sri Mahaprabhu Ki
Jai.
Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Kiri Govardhan Ki
Jai.
Tulasi Maharani Ki Ganga Yamuna Ju Ki
Jai.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Sri Chaitanya Bhagavan Ki
Jai.
Sri Navadvitam Ki
Jai.
Sri Mayapudam Ki
Jai.
Sri Vrindavanam Ki
Jai.
Sri Purushottamadam Ki
Jai.
Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata Ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata East London Chapter Ki
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata West London Chapter Ki
Jai.
Samadveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Samadveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki
Jai.
Harinam Sankirtan Ki